Analyzing Diction. Today we'll be reviewing student submissions. Let's get started. This is a student sample response to the 2019 FRQ prompt. It goes like this. In Gandhi's letter to the representative of the British Crown in India in 1930, he uses phrases like, "in all humility with equal love," and "the dearest members of my family," to describe the ruling British people, to convey to them that he does not see them as inferior or does not have any bias towards the British people because of their nationality, and sees them as equals. He then describes in hopes of what should be done to resolve the issues that were occurring at the time between India and its ruling nation. By doing this, phrases like friendly negotiation, promoting the common good of mankind, voluntary fellowship, and mutual help, he furthers his view that he does not wish any animosity between the two parties and stresses how he wished to work together and peacefully resolve the problems. Okay, so there are some issues in this text, but I think overall it works. It's a good initial response to a text in pursuing the analysis of diction. Now, there are some things that will be moving around. Whatever's in yellow, I mean that I like it, but I don't like it where it is or how it's phrased, so I'm going to move it around. Whatever it's red, I'm cutting out. And there were some other phrases throughout that I'm cutting, or little words that I'm putting in order to make things smoother, but I'm not going to highlight all of them. And whatever it's in green means that I like it. I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to work my way around the area so I can make that more significant. All right, so after making a few changes, this is now what it looks like. This is the revised version of the same initial paragraph. Okay, let's read it. Gandhi's letter to the representative of the British Crown in India characterizes the ruling British people with phrases like, "in all humility with equal love," and "the dearest members of my family," which convey a sense of equality and fraternity. Similar phrases peppered throughout his letter highlight his conciliatory and respectful tone, which shows him as deferential but unmoved in his resolve. He then presents a friendly negotiation in hopes of resolving the contemporary issues between India and its ruling nation. Phrases like promoting the common good of mankind, voluntary fellowship, and mutual help further his view that he does not wish any animosity between the two parties, instead stressing how they should work together to peacefully resolve their differences. Okay, now, it's very different from the first one, only in phrasing, but the meat and potatoes are still the same. Now, what exactly did I change? I primarily focused on changing three things. Here we go. Varying quotations. I gave you a list of quotations, which it was already like that, so I left it, right? Phrases like, "in all humility with equal love," and "the dearest members." I gave you a list and then follow with an explanation. But every so often you want to show the reader that you can move things around. So while I gave you a list, I then blended a quote into the sentence. And then I gave you another list. Phrases like promoting this, volunteering that, mutual help. Now, it's important to vary your quotations so the reader knows that you can list, you can blend, right? You can work with the quotations in different ways. What else did I do? I changed the language a little bit. So, for instance, I strengthened the verbs, characterizes, right? I added interesting phrases like peppered all throughout the letter. I changed ideas, or rather, rephrased the ideas that the student had. So, equality and fraternity is really what he meant the first time around. I added the idea that Gandhi has a conciliatory and respectful tone, right? Then I elevated my language a little bit with words like animosity and conciliatory. I do this on purpose so that the reader knows that I have that language. I can use it if I want to, but I'm not going to complicate my writing altogether. I'm just going to demonstrate to the reader that I can go from this conversation to this much elevated vocabulary. Another thing that I did, and the most important thing I did, which I connected everything back to the purpose of the text, or what I believe is the purpose of the text in my reading. Essentially, I'm answering, what is that doing? Right? Like if you tell me, "oh, Gandhi is using this phrase," that's great. Why? You have to explain it. So here's what I did. I said that Gandhi is using phrases like, humanity, equal love, dearest members in the family. Okay, that's great. Why does he use those phrases? Well, they convey a sense of equality and fraternity. Oh, I see. That's what they're doing there. Okay, so other phrases like those, what are they doing? Well, they show him as deferential but unmoved in his resolve. Oh, I get it. He's being respectful, but he's also not backing down. I totally get it. So, how about friendly negotiation? Why is that there? Well, it's because it resolves the contemporary issues between India and its ruling nation, or rather, the phrase is trying to resolve the issue. Oh, I see. I understand why the phrase is there. How about these phrases over here? What are they doing? They stress how we should work together to peacefully resolve their differences. Ah, I get it. So you always want to bring everything back to the purpose. Almost formulaically, if you really want to think about it, is the writer uses blank in order to do blank, which accomplishes blank. That's the basic format. I mean, you don't have to phrase it like that every time, and you should probably move it around. But you always have to go back to the purpose. Now, here's a side by side of the old and the new. I'm not going to go over it. But when you look at the PowerPoint on the drive, make sure that you go over it so you can see side by side how different they are. And yet, they have the same content if you really think about it. It's just a matter of varying the language. Now, before I go, this is a notable mention to one of the students. The text that I was using just before was from period 3, Jason. There are other notable mentions from periods 4 and 6, like Sophie and Nick. Go read them, they're really good. But this notable mention right here, I'm going to give an extra credit to anyone who sends me a message on Remind, the first person who sends me a message on Remind, identifying where this came from. No, the person who wrote it should not identify themselves because they will already get the extra credit A. All right, so this was shocking to me. So let's see how well they did. All right, notable mention. I barely touched this. I added a thing here, moved a thing there. Albright uses words like ennoble in her text as a call for change, deepening her message. She pushes for the audience to, quote, ennoble your own life, meaning that she wants her female audience to take matters into their own hands and be the kind of change they want to see in the world. With these unique word choices, Albright seeks to inject a feeling of determination and a sense of purpose in the graduating class of women she is addressing. All right, there's that notable mention. Let me know who you think it is. No follow-up assignments since this one is itself a follow-up to your homework. All right, we're done. Good job.